Now, there are many games that I would say are retro icons. Games and characters who have changed the landscape like no other. Many game characters come to mind, like Mario and Kirby. But I think there's only one character who's made the most innovation, and that's Crash Bandicoot. Now, I'm talking about the original Crash game, Crash Bandicoot 1. This gaming classic was released in 1996, and it took the gaming world by storm. It introduced us to Crash Bandicoot, who's on a mission to defeat Dr. Neo Cortex and the many villains along the way. Now, Crash Bandicoot isn't the most story-heavy game, but instead, it focuses heavily on gameplay. This is where Crash Bandicoot 1 excels, and it's also one of the reasons why it's the best retro game ever. Every level is beautifully designed with care and detail, and the levels offer a nice variety of fun and challenge. The Crash Bandicoot levels alone are revolutionary, and they set the standard for future games. The levels were very well thought out, especially with the inclusion of crates. Now, the crates added a nice extra bit of challenge to an already very hard game. You see, to fully complete a level, you have to collect all the boxes. Now, some of these boxes are very hard to reach, especially with limited lives. Also, sometimes you had to backtrack to previous levels to get the boxes which you couldn't reach before. This was done through gems, which you couldn't get without collecting all the boxes in the level. Now, the enemies in these levels are amazing to say the least. The enemies add a nice extra bit of depth and detail. For example, in the level Jaws of Darkness, you must dodge oncoming bats out the darkness. Now, this adds a nice bit of variety, as you only see these bats in these sorts of levels, meaning the enemies are constantly changing up. Now, the addition of mini-bosses stops the game from feeling boring. From Papu Papu to Koala Kong, these mini-bosses add a nice bit of challenge and keep the game feeling fresh and fun. Now, these bosses have so much character, it's unbelievable. Bosses like a Psycho Dog, which to defeat, you have to time a TNT explosion for when he lands on the panel. Now, you also have to jump panel to panel and making sure you don't get hit by Ripperoo, explode, or drown in the water below. Now, this incorporates a lot of 2D elements and puts them into 3D, which is another reason why it's such a great game. Another great boss would be Pinstripe, who is an animal with a Tommy gun. These bosses are so memorable, but this all comes down to Crash Bandicoot's heavy use of personality. Crash Bandicoot himself has a very vibrant and fun personality, especially with his main attack, the spin. Now, the spin is very energetic and fun, which is exactly what Crash Bandicoot is. The game also has a very light-hearted sense of humour, and a very memorable cast of villains, as I said before, like Dr. Neo Cortex, who's very frightful, yet fun. Now, there's no reason to bat around the bush. Crash Bandicoot is known for being a very hard game, and sometimes very unfair. But this isn't really a problem. Crash Bandicoot is meant to be a hard game. From collecting all the boxes to making a really tight jump, Crash Bandicoot can make you jump up in joy or smash your PlayStation into a million pieces. There's no in between. Crash Bandicoot's challenging level design is what makes it stand out from the likes of Mario and Banjo-Kazooie. Although they're very different games, neither of them compare to Crash Bandicoot's sense of challenge. This also allows Crash Bandicoot to attract an older audience, which games like Mario and Banjo-Kazooie won't be able to do, as they might perceive them as a bit too easy. Crash Bandicoot is such an iconic character. There's a reason why he's the face of PlayStation. It's because it encapsulates everything Sony stands for. Quality. Crash Bandicoot is such a quality game, especially in the time period it come out. Don't forget, Crash Bandicoot came out in a time where the bar was very low. Don't forget, this is the time period of games like Gex. And also, Gex was released a few years later. So, what's the excuse? Also, Crash Bandicoot was able to do something no game had done before. Incorporate 2D aspects in a 3D format. Crash Bandicoot heavily relies on 2D tropes. And this isn't a problem. When a lot of games moved to 3D, they lost a lot of the 2D aspects and went fully 3D. Some didn't, but Crash Bandicoot's the only one who did it well. Crash Bandicoot's personality and unique level design is the reason why he's the most important retro character ever. As Crash Bandicoot didn't just do what everyone else was doing, he did it his way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy, you might enjoy this video. Now, this video is about Rayman, which is another gaming legend. And if you did enjoy, please consider subscribing and join the Insta Army today. And I'll see you next time. See ya!